As with all good communication, we want to make sure that we are considering our audience. So, when we're planning a resume, we actually are thinking about four audiences. We don't have a single audience, we have four audiences that we need to think about. There's the screener, who is there to make sure that your resume is not wasting their boss's time. They are looking for basic qualifications. There's also the recruiter, who may be either an outside search consultant or an internal human resources employee. They will review the screened resumes to assemble a shorter list. The hiring manager is the final decision maker. And then we also have applicant tracking systems, often referred to as ATS. The applicant tracking system sits beside the entire workflow in the company's HR system. Now, none of this is set in stone. Some companies use applicant tracking systems, some do not. Some companies might have an HR employee that is specifically a recruiter and that's all they do. Others might have a recruiter that also has another main job. There might not be a screener. If it's a small company, there might not be an initial screener. It might go straight to the hiring manager even. That's not impossible. Although increasingly less likely as time goes on because of the number of resumes that businesses are having to weed through. A couple of interesting quotes here. On average, this is from Glassdoor, on average, each corporate job offer attracts 250 resumes. Of those candidates, 4 to 6 will get called for an interview and only one will get the job. Now, a job posted on a major job site might get way more than 250 resumes. They could get upwards of 1,000 applicants. Now, really depends though. It could be a lot less as well. We just don't know. Although my bet, if you say we're applying to, a middling to larger company or organization in the current job market, I think that you are going to be up against hundreds of other resumes just because right now so many businesses are cutting back. It's not that they're not hiring, they absolutely are, but many are cutting back. And so you need to stand out from the crowd if you want to get a job right now. So think about it for a moment. Your future employer is not going to read 250 resumes, much less 1,000, or at least they're not going to if they don't have to. And that's where the screener comes in. The screener is the solution to all those resumes, and the screener is usually a junior staff person, or perhaps an intern, perhaps an HR assistant, low person. They are most likely not an expert in your industry. They may be screening for sales reps one day and communication specialists the next. They are comparing your resume to a list of skills, titles, or companies that they've been given by the recruiter or the hiring manager. So that means that you need to get through these screeners first. Use of humor will probably not work on screeners. They probably have little, if any, expertise in any of these areas. So use of idiosyncratic language, not a good idea. The work of sorting and screening is so time-consuming that it makes sense to delegate the initial filtering to someone who's inexperienced. And so it has become common to have the most junior person in a department or a company perform this first cut. But because there is recognition that the screener is inexperienced, guidelines will tend to be inclusive. So that's good for you. That means that only the most unqualified candidates will likely be cut at this first stage. Nevertheless, you must assume that they don't know anything about your role, position, or industry. So if you are using unusual language, if you're trying to be quirky or funny, it just might end up costing you that job interview. You might not get past the first step. You also want to make sure that you keep your resume to 2 pages so that the screener can easily find keywords and phrases. Now, this is particularly true of entry or mid-level job postings. So I don't think any of you are executive level yet. So keep it short and sweet. You should be able to fit everything on 2 pages.